Hello and welcome to the second episode of Guys and Their Games. I'm Burke, and today I'm joined by Jaeger.
I'm supposed to say hey?
And Will.
Just like... fuck around my soot, bro.
How much shit you got? Like 2? Dude!
I just laughed because you said shit, not soot. You're like, how much shit you got?
Shit you got.
How much shit you got? It's not a shit sack, dude. I'm not collecting that. He's gonna make me a food out of shit.
Debatable.
Nah, B. That's not how I roll.
So, welcome to the podcast. We talk
Just
about
leave it
games
all in.
sometimes here.
Leave it all in.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes we talk about games.
Alright, so anyways, I'm joined by Jaeger.
What's up?
And Will.
Hi.
And today we'll, as per usual, be going over what we've been playing recently, as well as recent news, and our third topic will be unfortunately about the passing of the Nintendo CEO, Satoru Iwata, as of July 11th. Yes, thank you, Will. So getting into what we've been playing, I know.
I crossed myself.
Yeah,
All right,
maybe
dude.
the wrong way. I'm not sure.
Spectacles, testicles,
No, yeah.
wallet, and watch, dude.
Yep.
Oh, Jesus.
Come on.
Did not know there was a thing.
Come on, you go to church?
No.
I'll take you to
Can't break
church.
school on Sunday. You go to VBS, boys.
So
I
anyways,
watch VeggieTales.
we'll be starting off with talking about what we've been playing recently, and I guess I will go first.
Doing this in the same room is a terrible
Oh, it was an
idea.
I think it was an
I think
amazing
we have
idea.
a better chemistry here.
Yeah.
I think so.
So, anyways, what I have been playing recently has been a fan-translated version of Fire Emblem 6, the game before the one that came to America being Fire Emblem 7. And it's actually, it's pretty much the same as Fire Emblem 7, honestly. The animations are identical. There's a lot of the same classes.
And this is the game that Roy is the main character of.
Yeah.
Where a lot of people in America didn't actually... they didn't even really know what Fire Emblem was until Melee, and they included 2 Fire Emblem characters.
Yeah.
But Martha's from the first game, and then Roy was from the newest game at the time when Melee came
Actually,
out.
it was right before it came out. Melee came out a couple months before.
Before?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess they were trying to hype it up, maybe.
That's exactly what they're doing, yeah.
They were taking it into account.
Pretty much what they did with Greninja and the Wii U version.
I guess to speak to Fire Emblem more in general, Ryan, you said earlier about how there wasn't a whole lot of people that knew what Fire Emblem was beforehand.
Yeah. It never came to America.
Yeah, and I mean, the only game that I've ever played is the one for the Game Boy Sacred Stones.
Yeah, I think I let you borrow it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was your copy of it, actually, yeah. And it's a good game, but I guess I think that this is maybe a game that could probably use more, like, description of, like, the gameplay, because I don't even really remember it all that well. I remember it was turn-based, but that's kind of where that stops.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So basically, it's a strategy game. It's quite different from other strategy games in the sense that there is permadeath, which I have not seen in a lot of strategy games.
The thing I think that separates Fire Emblem a lot
Support.
from other strategy games like that, I don't know, it was just cool. It was like the first kind of strategy RPG that let you see your stats, like before you make an attack.
Oh, gotcha.
And based on those, like, I mean, everything in RPGs are number-based, right?
Yeah.
But this one let you see it, and if you wanted to make that decision, you could, based on the stats that you could actually see, which I think was pretty cool. That's what kind of drew me to the game the first time. The first exposure I had to Fire Emblem, I think I was in middle school, and I saw my friend play FE7 on his TV, because he had, like, the GameCube adapter.
Yeah.
Or the Game Boy adapter, or whatever it was called. And it just, like, I was like, whoa, this is just, like, chess, but that's what I thought. I was like, it's like medieval chess with cool sprite work.
Essentially, I think there's a lot of things that make it different. Permadeath, the support relationship things.
Oh, but XCOM has permadeath.
Yeah, it does, yeah. But other games like Tactics doesn't really have permadeath. Neither does...
No.
I don't know about Super Robot Taisen.
How does
no.
the support system work in that game?
Basically, how it works is it's more defined in later Fire Emblems, but in the case of 6, 7, and I believe 8, is each character has about 5 or 6 other people that they could have like support conversations with.
They can mingle with.
Yeah.
Their chemistry with them is a little better than some other
Yeah.
characters.
So basically, what happens is if you have them close for a really, I guess, long period of time,
Like
they
physically close to each other.
yeah,
for
like
the battle.
literally like a square apart from each other. Then they kind of like build relationship points or something. I don't know. And
Yeah,
then
there's invisible relationship points,
Yeah.
and then then the next level when you start it, if you get them really close to each other, like if you make one character wait and then you have the other one come over to them and wait, before you hit wait, there could be another option that says talk, and you can talk in that after the conversation. You learn a little bit more about the characters, adds to the story a little bit, and then their support level raises a letter grade, and you can get it up to A or S, I think.
And the benefit of that is
S
that,
is only one character couple can have an S.
Yeah.
Like Elwood can only have an S with one other person. Everyone else, they can only reach an A at that point. And you can, the cool thing about that is, like, you can, like, not only does it unlock bonuses when they're near each other in battle, like stat bonuses, but sometimes, like, at the end of the credits, if their relationship was really good, it could unlock a different, story, because at the end of every Fire Emblem game, it goes through all the characters that you still have left alive, or at least in FE7, and it tells you what they did after the war or the story or whatever.
I was gonna say, I actually read in FE6 that doesn't, happen. Every character just has a set ending.
Okay. I know in 7, like, certain ones did. Like, they could get, like, oh, they ended up together, they got married.
Yeah.
I think Canis, one of my favorite characters, the Dark Mage, always had a set ending, but I'm not sure. But he's, like, the only one who had an ending where he died, like, every time.
Jesus.
Like, he, like, went to go stop a
dark.
blizzard with his magic and was, like, never seen again.
So that sounds like it's something that would add, like, a lot of replayability to the game over and over, because you can kind of, like, test out which characters are which.
Yeah, it's definitely one thing.
Other, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's the other thing I think that also makes Fire Emblem very different, is just how much replayability it has. Especially, I was going to mention this, with 6, it actually has sort of branching path lines based on something random. I think some of the ones that happen are, if one character gains more levels than another character, you'll go to a different, like, the next 3 levels you go to will be different than, say, I don't remember the characters off the top of your head, but say you had more experience with, like, Pegasus Riders than you had with Cavaliers.
Like, maybe their overall level was higher.
Yes, maybe their overall level was higher or whatever. So you'll go to the Pegasus Rider level, whereas if you did it the other way, you'd go to the Cavalier level. So it kind of splits, and then it reconnects, and then it'll split again and then reconnect. So that actually is something that Fire Emblem, I don't think, has done, besides, like, kind of, Sacred Stones did.
Yeah, I was gonna say 7 and then 8, which is Sacred Stones, which also came to America. They had that too.
Did 7 have it?
7, it did a little bit. I mean, there were definitely levels you couldn't access. Like, I remember there was one specific branching point where it's like, you can go do this level, or you could do this level if your combined Lord levels, your 3 main character levels, were over a certain number. If they were, you would go to, like, a harder level, which took place at, like, a pier, and then the other one was, like, a foggy mountain setting, which was, like, slightly easier to try to account for your levels. But it was cool because it also played into the story.
Yeah.
And I think there were more than one level like that. And there was also subquests. Like, if you met certain achievements during the level, you could go to another level, which would, expand the story a little bit and give you bonus items, bonus characters.
Which also happens in this one. But
that's cool.
To add to the thing, I forgot that there were, like, the branching levels, but to this, it's to the extent of, like, there's, like, 3 or 4 levels at a time that branch. So it's like, you do this one level and it'll branch into 4 levels this way or 5 levels that way. Instead of just being one level and then coming back together. So that's actually pretty interesting, I think. But yeah, it's pretty much, if you like number 7, you'll probably enjoy this one. It's definitely more difficult. The characters, I would say, aren't as fantastic stat-wise, and if you are a newcomer and you wanted to get into Fire Emblem, I wouldn't really suggest this one.
Just play Awakening. I think everyone knows that by now.
Yeah. Awakening, and I think 7 also does a fantastic job of introducing
7
everything.
was our entry point to the series, and I would recommend it, but I definitely understand the attractiveness of Awakening. It's got a lot of cool new features. It's the newest game. There's a lot of great stuff in it. I love Awakening. It's definitely the Fire Emblem game that I think brought it to the next level. And it's going to make sure that it stays around.
Yeah. Alright, so that's pretty much what I've been doing recently. Will, do you want to give what you've been doing recently?
Yeah, I've been playing Pokemon Alpha Sapphire, Omega Ruby. Omega Sapphire?
No, you had it right. Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire.
Yeah, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. I've been playing Alpha Sapphire. It is my favorite of all the Pokemon versions when I was a kid, still today. So having, the ability to play like the remaster, make, port, whatever it is that you want to call it, like we were talking about last week, is really cool, and get to play it, you know, with all the new stuff that they have in the new Pokemon versions today. You know, I probably don't need to really go into a whole lot of depth. It's Pokemon. You catch Pokemon and you enslave them, and then you just go.
I'm sure a lot of people know about
beat
it.
the hell out of gym leaders, and you get to the Elite Four.
The new
and
remake has a lot of cool features.
It does.
It really does. There's a lot of cool stuff. And I think
go reaching into some holes.
Yeah, I think one of the coolest parts about it to me is what they've done, not just with new features or what they've kept exactly the same, but how they've kind of like made the old features that were new features better. Like
the Pokemon contest.
The Pokemon contest, yeah, exactly. That's
the first one that comes to my mind.
Yeah. You can the running shoes, which I think are huge in the series, but on top of that, you can run indoors. The bike, you can ride your, little stuff like that.
You couldn't run indoors in the first one?
No.
I don't remember. It's so long ago.
No,
I don't think they started doing that until they came to the DS.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just all that, like, all those little things that just make the game easier and fun to play, more fun to play. It's not that the older games are, like, inaccessible or clunky or hard to play or anything, but it's just so nice to play it on such a true and honest and really, like, genuine remaster. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I probably don't need to explain a whole lot. Like, it's Pokemon, and you catch Pokemon, and
it's awesome.
Yeah, like we mentioned before, they did actually add, like, a lot of cool features. Half off water encounters.
Huge.
It's actually really
not
big.
getting into a battle every time you hop in that little river between Mauville and the
you gotta get repels though.
Thing.
I was actually playing Heart Gold the other day, and I was like, oh my god, these water encounters are so bad. I'm so glad they lowered them for Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire.
Yeah, you see roughly 1 billion tentacles in your life.
Yeah.
Well, you're trying to.
It's always
trying
tentacle.
to get through all the always tentacle. It's never anything
and
else.
As well as like adding in Gen 4, Gen 5, Gen 6 Pokemon.
Yeah, and I think that goes along with the it's so cool to see the original and what I remember playing, but with all the new stuff.
With
like
the accessibility of the new
Yeah, exactly.
Pokemon.
Like you can just like, fight, what was his name? Brawly or whatever his name is, or that second gym leader on that little rock island, the dude with the nose pass. And if you're really feeling it, like you can just throw out Deoxys and like just wreck
You're really
his nose pass so hard.
So I was just gonna say, I think even like the extent that they revamped everything to like the 3D models and stuff like they did in Pokemon X and Y, it's just a whole new game almost. It's really cool. I love all the visual work they did with it.
The first thing that comes to mind for me when you talk about the visuals, the visual changes in the game is Mauville City.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
They turn into a mall. Yeah.
I remember you and me,
mall.
Will, had like a full-on discussion about this one time.
And at first, when I first played it, I got to Mauville City and I had no idea, and I walked in, I was like, what the hell is this? Like, why am I at Destiny USA? Like, where's the casino? Where's Lieutenant Surge's grandpa's gym? Like, where am I?
Apparently they didn't want kids gambling away all their Poke Points or whatever the currency.
Oh, did they get rid of that?
Coins, I believe. Yeah, they got rid of the casino. They axed
I love
it.
the casino.
You
Or the game
can't-
corner.
It's like,
You
I
can't
remember
buy
that's a thing Will brought up when we were talking about
Yeah,
it.
you can't buy a Porygon for 9,999 coins anymore, which is a shame.
I think that was in Red and Blue.
It is in red and
Or,
blue.
yeah.
And gold and silver. It's not in. What do you
It
call
was in,
I don't honestly
I remember for the
remember.
remakes for Fire Red and Leaf Green, they like made a really weird change, like some version exclusives. It was like, yeah, in Leaf Green, it's in still 9999, but in Fire Red, it's 6666. And I was like, why?
6969.
If I want Porygons, I gotta go to
Obviously.
Fire Red.
Yeah.
Gotta save those coins. Yeah, I thought that was an interesting change, taking that out. I get that. It is what it is. I mean, I never really, like, used the casino all that much. I mean, I was
didn't
playing
either.
Pokemon. If I wanted
wasted
to
hours.
gamble and
I remember
have,
the
like,
biggest
little-
issue you had with that though is it took out the longest distance in a breeding route.
It did. Okay, so if you go from
you're
the
right.
far right side
That
of
was
Mauville
clutch.
City all the way to
Yes.
Verandorf Town, there's an almost exactly straight line from the coast on the other side of Mauville all the way to the end of Verandorf, and right in the middle of it is the Pokemon breeders. obviously steps are important when you're talking about eggs or breeding or, that sort of, or the time that it takes to level up. And that was definitely intentionally put in there by the designers, that really long straight line.
Yeah, after that game, they started putting them in every game.
And on top of that, you could just go into Rydell Cycle Shop, which is right there in Mauville, and you could get the Mach bike if you were using the Acro bike, and you could just whip back and forth.
Yeah.
One of the coolest things that I remember when I was a kid, when I discovered that, I thought I was the man. I thought I figured that out, and I told everybody in my class about that, and everybody was blown away, and then they named me class president.
True story.
Yeah, true story.
That's one of my favorite things in game design, subtle game design like that. It's really something special.
That actually reminds me of something that I really liked that they added in Ruby, or Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, and that was the, I guess, more connectivity of bases. You could get a QR code that had your friend's bases in it.
That was cool.
And then it pretty much just
that was one thing I was hoping they'd revamp.
Yeah, the bases were, I thought that was so cool. And that's
cool
something
idea.
that's always been cool to me. Not to get completely off topic, but in the Fallout 4 trailer, which everybody has seen because, come on.
Pokemon is Fallout. Didn't you know?
Yeah, you gotta have VATS in Pokemon. No, they showed this little thing where it's you can build your own base and build your own home or whatever. And obviously Sapphire and Ruby had that with the secret bases and stuff. And I don't know why this is, but that's always been one of my favorite things in video games. Being able to make your own base in a world, and make it especially in open world games, not linear level games, but I just always thought that was one of the coolest things. You can make your own base, totally make it your own, and it's where you can hang out, and I guess I can't explain to anyone why I think that's so cool.
I think a lot of people like that.
But if people understand where I'm coming from, I don't need to explain it. If you feel that way, you know why that's cool. And it's hard to convey and articulate, but...
everyone loves Minecraft.
Yeah.
So exactly. Minecraft is literally just the embodiment of that. Being able to build your own little fortress where you can be inside while everything is outside, if that makes any sense. So yeah, seeing the secret bases were cool to me when they were in the game, in the originals, and then having them in here and having them totally revamped and having all the new features and all the new, they added so many different things too, so many different things that you can put in there. The coolest thing that you could put in Sapphire and Ruby in the originals was a big blue tent. You just stick in the middle of your...
It was a badge of honor.
Yeah, it was a big, huge blue tent. It was mad expensive, and there was no reason for it, but you could stand under that thing.
It was a big deal.
Yeah, it was cool. It was huge.
I love talking about retro games, because he's those are the coolest things. These little things. Is it cool to say that's retro now?
Is Ruby and Sapphire retro? Is it?
Now is it a remake?
Almost 15 years or something.
Yeah, if it's got a remake.
No, it's so, when me and my brother went on, family trips with my parents, we brought the connector cables and we went in each other's bases.
And that was so cool.
We liked it.
The connector cables, dear God.
The trading cables.
Yeah, same, still, just carrying that thing around and just...
I had it with me at all times.
It's funny to think about that now.
He had a brother. That was the most important thing.
Come on, tell me you didn't have the Wi-Fi adapter. Or whatever it was called, the wireless adapter. Yeah.
That was revolutionary. That was a cool idea.
It was just so ridiculous.
Well, it's funny.
It's ridiculous now, but it was cool back then.
Yeah, not to be those guys who were oh man,
could say the same thing about the QR reader.
But yeah, you've got QR readers, you've got the the world whatever thing. What's that called for the Pokemon, the trading center or whatever?
The World Trade Center thing?
I forget.
Global...
GTS. Global Trade Center.
World Trade Center probably wasn't.
That shit was so cool in Gen 4.
But yeah, that's
blew our
the
minds.
standard now. This wireless, through Wi-Fi, you and me could trade our Pokemon. We did trade our Pokemon, actually, from...
I think you had a Kadabra.
Each other's houses, and that was for Alpha...
I've traded you stuff while I was at college.
Exactly.
It's fine.
And that's so cool to us, and almost normal to us at this point. But back then, if you told us, hey man, you want to trade my Kadabra so I can, get an Alakazam, but, don't worry, you don't have to come over. We can just do it from our separate houses. That's so cool.
I think we all knew one day it was coming, but the technology just wasn't there yet.
Exactly, yeah.
It's on the horizon.
Yeah, so I've been playing Sapphire, and I have no shame in admitting that it's been an absolute nostalgia fest, and I've loved every second of it, and I will love every second of it. as I go through it. I'm barely halfway through it. I find that I take much, much longer replaying games because I know what happens at the end of it. So when I replay a game, I will go deliberately really, really, really slowly. Because when I first get one, I want to burn through it and get to the end and see what happens and beat the whole at least main section of it. But going through again, like, I've really, like, carefully selected my team, and I'm really, like, trying to keep them all equal level, and I'm not using EXP share because I'm not a bitch, and, like...
Yeah, that works a lot better in Omega Ruby than it did in X and Y.
Yeah, I did notice that it does work better, but just for the experience, I did still turn it off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah.
I just meant turning it off works better.
Turning it off completely.
Because you generally keep the same level, whereas X and Y, by the end, you're, like, down 10 levels. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I've been playing, and a nostalgia fest it has been.
So Jaeger, what have you been playing? Super Mario World?
Yeah, I haven't really been playing any new games per se. Actually, I did turn on...
Any of us? We named 2 Game Boy Advance games.
Well, no, he's playing the 3DS one.
That's true.
I'm playing a remake port, and you're
That's
playing
still a new game, though.
translated version.
I'd say that's a new game.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually did last night. I booted up my Omega Ruby.
Is this a moment where Jaeger's like, so I've been playing Black Ops 3 recently. I've got a bootleg early release copy.
Yeah.
I've been using the alpha.
Just playing out of my 3DS.
You've been playing the beta?
The jacked alpha. No, I've been, I played a little bit of Ruby last night. I just attempted I'm at the last part. I guess, is this a spoiler? Not really. You know,
it's 15 years old.
Yeah, yeah. You get to the top of, I forget the name of the tower. The one where Rayquaza is. The Sky Pillar? Yes. The Sky Pillar. And I don't want to go all the way back down to buy more Pokeballs, so I'm just trying to catch this Rayquaza with like 17 Pokeballs, and it's not going well.
Saved before.
Yeah, it's not going well.
Flipping off and going back.
That's the first time I played it in like 4 months.
Are you playing regular Ruby, the original? Or
no, it's Omega.
You're playing Omega.
Yeah.
I've actually been there before, too.
It's pretty tough. They didn't make it any easier.
No.
I've been in that situation before.
Yeah, I was in that situation with the original Ruby and Sapphire trying to catch that bad boy.
But besides that, I've been playing, with the passing of Iwata, me and my brother, it really hit us hard. We were really upset about that. And so we decided to dig through our old storage room and find old SNES cartridges that we had and play some of those games, some of our favorite games. And, one of our collective favorite games is Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo. And it's been a blast. We beat it in 2 nights. Maybe even, we could have beat it in 1 night, but, we had to go to bed. We were tired. We stayed up till like 4 a.m. and we were like, oh my god, we're just playing Super Mario World. That is one of my favorite games of all time. I have a lot of nostalgia for it. Some of my favorite memories come from that game, and from gaming anyway. There was like a night, I think, when we were kids, my brother stayed up all night trying to beat it, and he got to like the last world, and like my sister or someone like kicked out the cartridge or something, and he cried. He was so upset. He lost all his progress. So while he was asleep, I went through and I caught him up to the point where he was at, and I saved the game. And when he woke up, he was so happy, and it was one of my favorite moments.
That's brotherly love right there.
Yeah, it was a cool experience. And so after we beat Super Mario World, we moved on to Link to the Past, and we just started playing that today. We didn't get too far, but I don't need to sing that game's praises. It's amazing. One of my favorite games of all time as well. And yeah, it's awesome. When we saw it, we got to the point, where he gets to the bottom of the castle and his uncle's like, oh, Link, I'm dying. Like, here's my sword, hold B to do the spin attack. And it just reminded me of that Ego Raptor video, Zelda is my what? Because that's where it's from.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so great moments there too. We had a lot of nostalgia for that game as well.
Mm-hmm, yeah. I'm actually a big fan of A Link Between Worlds.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah, A Link to the Past. And also,
I love both of them.
Yeah,
both of them are great.
Both of them are really good. Sorry. The names are so similar. I just
and they're all
the
so
names.
great.
I think like that's like the last game in recent memory where I was just like glued to. Like A Link Between Worlds, I was like, I need to beat this like today. Let's go. And I stayed up for days, like at college, and my friends were like, you gotta go to class. I was like, no, I gotta play A Link Between Worlds.
The other thing with that game is it's not like all that long, really. So,
no, not really, but it's great.
I mean, I think
it makes completing everything so much fun.
I think I did complete everything, and I think I did it in like 7 or 8 hours, something like that.
I don't remember.
The game itself is like 5 hours.
Yeah, as soon as I beat it, I went right back to hard mode or hero mode, and was like, let's go.
That's what I did.
Let's do it again.
That's what I did, honestly. It was like, the only two games I've ever really picked up in recent time right after beating them was A Link Between Worlds and Fire Emblem Awakening. But yeah, A Link to the Past is like a really good Zelda, especially for...
It's classic.
Yeah, it's been like 20
Yeah, that's another thing. Like,
years.
when we were playing through these games that we haven't played in so long, it was just like, wow, this game...
That's my background.
So Will was just oogling Burke's background.
It's so cool.
The
It's
Xenoblade
really
Chronicles
cool, yeah.
opening.
It's like the start menu, the Xenoblade Chronicles, but it's like an HD and it looks so serene.
It's like a screensaver. I want to go pull that out.
Go backslash some people.
I'm really feeling it.
Backslash!
But yeah.
But yeah, like I was saying, like when, we were just so surprised. Like we booted up these games, it was like, wow, hasn't aged a day. It's like,
Yeah.
I can still pick them up and like have a blast playing them.
I think with games like that you're talking about, those games that, everybody's got that game or those handful of games that they can pick up and they can, start to play and they don't, there's no faults. They see nothing wrong with it. And whether that's because the game is really, really good or because you have rose colored glasses, because it's Sonic Adventure Battle 2, but, or whatever that is, I would say that
that's definitely one for me.
I would say that a majority of those games, when you think about like those games that you can just do that with, how many of them are Nintendo?
Almost all of them.
Like,
Yeah.
almost
I'd say all of them.
There's lots
But I think
of
that's an
great
interesting
classic
thing to
games
say.
I love, but I would say that the majority of the games that fit a description like that are Nintendo.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting thing to say because, like, it's two different things to me, at least, because, like, I don't want to say objectively, because I don't really like having to...
Objective opinions.
Exactly. Objective opinion.
I don't really, that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say I don't like to, I guess, justify, like, certain reasons for why something's good, because it seems subjective. But, like, for the case, I guess, specifically, like, just because we brought it up, Sonic Adventure 2 and, like, A Link to the Past. Sonic Adventure 2 is not a perfect game, clearly. But I love it because I grew up playing it. And it's, like, heavy nostalgia for me. I mean, there's a lot of good things about it. And I would still recommend people to play it, pick it up and play the Adventure series, because I think it was really important in gaming history. Just because it was, like, such a crazy answer to Mario 64 when Sonic went 3D. But that's kind of besides the point. But, yeah. A Link to the Past, like, you look at it and it's like, it's still beautiful. It's like the pixel art's still good. Like, that's what I mean by it holds up. Like, it looks good.
Right.
If you booted up Sonic Adventure, I mean, like, it still looks good, I'd say, but like, it's like,
it doesn't look good in the way
3D games don't age as well. Like the 16-bit era, there's something about it that's timeless.
Timeless is exactly the word that I would use. And you're right. Like you said, I mean, you look at a game like Link to the Past and you look at a game like Sonic Adventure. I mean, I played Sonic Adventure way more than I played Link to the Past. Like, I played that probably a handful of times, but I never really played it until I was older. So I don't have that, like, nostalgia feeling for it. But I can look at both of them and, like you said, objectively look at it and say, Link to the Past is objectively, factually, it's a better game. It's got better this, it's got better that.
I'm not saying it's a better. I'm just saying aesthetically, it looks like it hasn't aged.
Right. And, well, no, that's what I'm getting at, is that, like, you can make that argument for it being objectively better or objectively worse,
I guess
or whatever.
visually, yeah.
But
maybe.
that's not the point. You know what I mean? That you shouldn't have to defend something with objective, facts when it comes to something.
There's too many factors to
exactly
compare.
right.
Like,
so you go back and it's all about your experience growing up. It's different for everybody, and that's why, I mean, debating video games is so much fun. But I think everybody that would ever have a debate on it should remember that
some are too obscure. Like, how do you compare like Mario 64 to like Uncharted 2? Like, you just can't. Like, how do you even like start? Like, I don't know. It's crazy. It's too much. But
the only way to do that is
there's some timeless. There's something great about the 16-bit era. That's just
right.
Like you say, like, it's different. Like, if someone who's never played Sonic Adventure went back and played it and were like, okay, like, it's kind of clunky and like, it looks old.
So
like, you're like, it looks old.
But
there. like I've felt that way about old, like, PlayStation games where people are like, they're classic. And you go back, like, I go back and play Crash Bandicoot and I'm like, okay, like, it's a good platformer, yeah, but, it looks old. Some parts are clunky, whatever. But, I didn't play Earthbound until I was in college, because I never had it growing up. And I felt nostalgia for a game I've never played before. Like, there's just something great about that era, that look, that I love so much.
I think Final Fantasy VII is a great example of that. I mean, like, it's hotly debated whether that game's overhyped or not overhyped or whatever. But when I look at Final Fantasy VII, and I can say this, and I know that people would take issue with this, and that would be people that played it growing up. I think Final Fantasy VII looks like butt.
Yeah, I actually have friends who personally said...
And that's how I feel about it, because I didn't play it, and I can't see past that. I know that Sonic Adventure visually isn't one of the best video games ever, but they did what they could at the time, and I can see past it because I played it.
It's just old. It's just dated.
But I've actually had friends that have personally said they won't play Final Fantasy VII because it looks like Legos. And they can't deal with that.
It does look like Legos, but you know what? And then that goes much more into the discussion.
I think the backgrounds have held up pretty well.
Yeah,
they're like painted, like kind of watercolory.
Sort of.
It's like a mix. Like it's like they're like painted, but like they've rendered it.
Yeah, it's like rendered in the background. It's
kind of like not.
It looks alright. I think Final Fantasy VIII did it a little bit better.
I mean, the character models are certainly
I think Final
dated.
Fantasy VII might actually look worse, if that's possible. Or Final Fantasy VIII.
The backgrounds are a little bit pixelated, but besides that, and the character models, I mean, they tried to actually kind of make them 3D.
Which is why I think it looked
And they're
worse.
super pixelated.
Because 7 kind of embraced what it was and the limitations, and 8 really went for, like, let's make this look real. The cutscenes don't look bad, but some of the scenes where they're in it, like, it looks like Gary's mod. And you're...
Essentially,
and that was the best that they had for the time, and that's fine, but, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that case can be said about a lot of things. Like, I don't think Mario 64 holds up visually. It's still, like, it looks good, but I wouldn't say it's timeless. Well. Yeah, it still plays great.
Right, exactly.
I wouldn't say it's a timeless visual experience.
Right.
Which is why one of the reasons that visuals are,
I just
especially
think it's
for
special.
gamers our age, visuals don't always hold the top spot in value when it comes to a video game. Because
I could still boot up, like I said last week or whenever a couple weeks ago we did the podcast, I played through Tactics, and I mean it doesn't, like, it looks like a PlayStation 1 game, it looks like a PlayStation era game, but I still had a blast, and that's all that matters. If your game's good, it's good.
Pretty much.
Like the visuals don't really matter that much to me, but there is just something special to me about that era.
So what
16-bit.
So what game were we talking about that you were playing?
Link to the Past and Super Mario World.
Yeah, and we just kind of spiraled into
another discussion,
SNES,
which is fine.
Graphics and whatnot.
Which is fine. This is good.
So yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up for our what we've been playing recently. So next we will be moving on to the news that has occurred recently in the video game world right after the break. See you guys then.
Peace.
Welcome to this week's trivia section. This week we'll be focusing on the life of Mr. Satoru Iwata. The trivia question will be about how many games did Mr. Iwata produce during his lifetime? Is the answer A, 32 games, B, 75 games, or C, 128 games? The answer coming up after the break.
Alright guys, welcome back to the news section of the show. Today I'll be starting it off with something that's actually been pretty important to me recently, and that is the announcement of Zero Escape 3 for the 3DS and PS Vita. So I have been a fan of Zero Escape for like the longest time, being 2010, which is like 5 years.
Forever.
Yeah, exactly. But this is big news for me, because for a while they were talking about it wasn't going to happen, and then there's kind of like it could happen, and then finally it happened.
I'm also very excited about this, because now I'm into the series.
It's actually funny. I know like 3 or 4 people that have played the series, and they all started with Zero Escape 2, and I don't understand.
Well, no, I played 999, but I didn't go back. I don't know. I was at college. I didn't really... but it was during like a busy season of college, so I didn't really have that much time to like go back and do the rest of the story paths.
Right.
So when we went to MagFest and I saw Zero Escape for really cheap, I bought it, and then, I did play it at college, but several years later, and, it was like my last semester, not much was going on, I wasn't working, so I had a lot of time to sit through and play it all, but yeah. It spoiled like the whole first game.
Exactly.
So I can't go back and play it.
Very excited for this news.
Yes. So also this week, 2 trailers from Comic-Con came out that got me really excited for the new DC movies coming out. Yes, Will's also excited. He's doing some drum rolls. It's gonna be great. The Batman vs. Superman trailer was awesome. The only thing I was a little skeptical about, and I'm still not sold on, is Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor. Not really sold on it. It was kind of what I expected. It was just Jesse Eisenberg being Jesse.
Almost like the comedic relief, like the red capes are coming line.
I don't know. It was. I'm not entirely sold, but there was some great stuff in there. The first scene, amazing. Love seeing Bruce Wayne looking up at the tower, falling from General Zod and Superman's battle, and running into the cloud. Amazing. I love seeing the little Easter eggs of him looking up at the Robin suit where Joker's graffitied it all. Alluding to, the arc in the comics where he killed Jason Todd.
The quick clip of Jesse Eisenberg looking at what clearly is a rocket kryptonite. That was cool. Yeah,
awesome. There's a lot of good stuff. There's homage to the cover of Dark Knight Returns when Batman grapples up to the skyscraper and he's looking out and you see the silhouette, which is clearly the one from Batman Returns, and then Superman, pretty much attempts to kill him, shoots a heat vision at him, and he grapples away just in time. It was just great. Awesome stuff. And then we got the subsequent release of the Suicide Squad trailer, which was a movie I was way more skeptical about. I'm still
on the skeptical side of that.
The trailer was cool. I liked it, and it put more faith in the movie than I initially had when they just released the pictures. So when the pictures first came out, I was like, yo, what?
Why are you covered in tattoos?
Obviously there's that. I thought that was dumb. I thought Killer Croc looked kind of bad. I was skeptical about Will Smith being Deadshot. I still kind of am. He was basically just Will Smith being Will Smith in the trailer. I was like, oh, okay.
What did add a lot of faith in it, though, was I've always liked Harley Quinn.
Yes.
Margot Robbie seems perfect for it.
Yeah, that was definitely the highlight of the trailer. Seems like she's going to knock it out of the park.
Funny and the baseball bat.
Yes, exactly. It's not going to be like I feel like we're going to get a different kind of Harley. One that is not, she's been portrayed in the animated series or in the Arkham games, or it's Mr. J, whatever. This looks she's clearly a very smart person who got damaged by the Joker. And I think...
And is strong and is independent, yet still very closely tied to the Joker, but not in not in the way that she's traditionally portrayed in the Arkham games.
Exactly, yeah. All the way back in the animated series, too. And, we got to see some other characters in motion. I'm happy to see Enchantress in there. I'm really curious how they're going to play her out because she's just magic. She just has magic.
She's literally just magic.
She is a sorcerer. How are they going to downscale that perhaps? Or are they going to grab it by the horns and just go with it?
Was that the chick in the bathtub? In the trailer?
I don't think she was in a bathtub. She was leaned against a prison wall, just kind of looking out. They also had Katana. She looks badass. Her costume looks cool. Will Smith in the costume looks cool.
Who's the one with the
Katana?
No, not the one with the sword. The one with the.
Yeah, she's got the white, and then there's the red dot.
No,
she's
the one
got
a wedding veil, a wedding dress.
Is it black?
It's Cara Delevingne is the actress that's playing her. I guess.
I think that might be Enchantress. She's the only other female, right? There's Katana, there's Enchantress, and there's one other member of the Suicide Squad they're putting in the movie, but I don't remember.
Well, anyway,
everyone's probably yelling, pulling their hair out, saying we're getting this wrong.
For it being Cara Delevingne, because I think she's so cool and she's such a dynamic actor and character and person and stuff. So
sorry if we got any of this wrong. We're not looking at our tablets or whatever. We don't know. We're not fact checking this.
You own a tablet?
I do.
Oh, I don't.
Killer Croc looks cool, better than...
Coolish.
He looks better than the stills.
He looks better in motion than he did in the stills. That's
right. And they tease the Joker out to the end, obviously. And we still got the bad tattoos, but I don't know. I'm interested to see where Leto's going.
I'm glad they kept it. There was a lot of backlash over those, but I'm glad that they stuck with the choice that they made and didn't just like Photoshop them out because there was like people saying, "Oh, those look dumb. I don't like them." And like I think
I wouldn't really care if they did.
But I can appreciate them at least, regardless of how I feel about those. I can appreciate the directors of it and Jared Leto being like, "No, this is a decision I made for this character. This is what we're doing." Internet fanboys be damned. This is our vision for it, and going with it. And maybe it's not the most.
Well, we'll see.
Thing,
we'll see how it goes.
We'll see. Exactly.
So you got any other news?
Yes, mine is a little bit less totally exciting and way more boring, and it has to do with business.
But do you care about it?
But I do.
Helps
GameStop, everybody's favorite and least favorite video game company in the whole world, is pretty close to owning its parent company called ThinkGeek. It's been a long process. They now are going. Okay, so what happened was they put in an offer to acquire the parent company of the online retailer ThinkGeek. That offer expired, which means that GameStop now owns GeekNet.com, which is like a subsidiary of it, which services GameStop and some others, and they own 87% of GeekNet Incorporated shares, which doesn't mean that they now own their parent company, but they own the online retailer of their parent company. They own a share majority of it. So it looks, and this is what they've been trying to do. I mean, they've put in 2 or maybe even this might be the 3rd offer that they've put in to basically buy out their majority owning company, which I don't think really is going to shake up a whole lot or change a whole lot of things, but it is just some interesting video game news. They're pretty much, they're the biggest video game retailer in the world, right?
Without a doubt.
Yeah. So they'll be definitely within probably about a calendar year would be my unprofessional guess. They'll own themselves and they'll pretty much be the boss of themselves. So
interesting.
Yep. Bert?
So Platinum Games came out and said that they are developing a game that Nintendo announced last year at E3 called Project Guard. So those who don't remember what that is, basically last year during E3, Shigeru Miyamoto kind of just stepped out and was like, "Hey, I'm working on these 3 games, being Star Fox Zero, Project Guard, and Project Robot." So far, they've said that Platinum's worked on Star Fox Zero and Project Guard, so I'd be shocked if it ended up, if they weren't working on Project Robot. But basically Project Guard, what it is you have controls over these cameras and these robots, and it's kind of like a sort of tower defense-y thing, where you can't let these invaders sort of get to the middle of your base. So it's kind of basic, but I honestly kind of think it's a little interesting, but yeah, now that Platinum's working on it, or says they've been working on it.
That's cool as hell.
Yeah, it definitely incites some people.
That's gotta be one of my favorite collaborations. Like, that's happened in recent years. Like, Platinum and Nintendo coming together, like, that's amazing.
Yeah, Platinum definitely, from what they've done, lends a lot of credibility to even hearing about, like...
Yeah, even before they were Platinum, like, Beautiful Joe, God Hand, Devil May Cry, like, great. Awesome. Sign me up. I'm excited.
Yeah, so I think it's sort of like Nintendo helped them a little while back with their financial issues, so it's maybe sort of like you scratched our back, we scratched yours, and now we're just doing a bunch of
I think they're also happy to be a part of it. Kamiya, the head of Platinum Games, he's a huge Nintendo fan. Zelda's one of his favorite franchises. He really looks up to them. I think he's really excited to be a part of Nintendo projects.
And I think Nintendo, as always, recognized that it was going to be a good business decision, a good financial move for them, but also they wouldn't have just helped Platinum Games out the way that they did when they did if they hadn't had a lot of respect for the games that they make and known, like, these guys can make good... Exactly. These guys can make good games.
Platinum kind of relies on them more. At least at first.
Yeah, maybe more like a Great White and a Remora eel kind of thing.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. Because they had a lot of money issues, and that's why Bayonetta 2 wasn't even going to be a thing until Nintendo helped them out. which I'm fucking glad they did, because Bayonetta 2 is amazing.
Still haven't gotten around to either Bayonetta. The only platinum game I've played is Wonderful 101. I actually really like that game.
Oh, cool.
I just want to chime in on the first F-bomb dropped on this podcast, which is, I believe...
Pretty sure I swore last podcast.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we might have last one, but
this is not...
We'll count it as this one.
It doesn't
this
really
episode.
matter. I'm not going to censor myself.
It's not going to get rated R.
First one this episode.
I just talk...
I did say that this podcast...
But we're suitable.
Post this on funnyjoke.com.
What's the thing they like slap on MP3s if they swear in them? On
explicit?
iTunes? Yes, it asked if it was an explicit podcast, and I said, you know what? Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Hey! Whoa!
We're not classy here.
Speak for yourself.
So yeah, that's...
I'm not classy.
That's my
You keep dropping
news.
swear words. Burke's just going to edit all of this out. He's going to throw
Yeah, put in big
beeps
beeps for me. Please do.
It's actually...
That might even be better.
Just you, not us.
It's actually...
You're the only one that gets censored.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing. I'd be okay with that.
All right.
So,
there you go.
That's pretty much my news.
Take notes.
That's pretty much all the news I had for this time
I want
around.
to say that since last podcast, I kind of touched up upon. I'm not really sure date specifically. Like we're on the timeline of life when Red Ash went. The Kickstarter launched.
It was like
was it before
ago.
our podcast?
Yeah, it was. I mentioned
so
it briefly.
Since then, it's officially launched, and I'm hyped as fuck.
I mentioned it briefly in the last one, but I said it was a spiritual successor to Mega Man.
We got to
Zero.
confuse. Yeah, we got to confuse with Azure Striker Gunvolt, which is a successor. It's the same people who worked on the Mega Man Zero franchise. Yeah. But this is a spiritual successor to Mega Man Legends. Which is, in my opinion, a vastly underrated game in the Mega Man series. It was one of my favorite, like, under the radar games I played growing up for the N64. And I'm so excited, especially since a couple years back, Capcom was like, hey, we got Mega Man Legends 3 coming out for the 3DS. And everyone was like, yeah, it's the greatest day ever. And then, they were like, oh, it's canceled. Fuck. Yeah. Damn it.
Hey, PT looks so cool.
You got us this time, Capcom.
Yeah, Capcom is, they killed Mega Man.
Suck.
It's so sad just because Mega Man's easily, like, one of my favorite game franchises ever. And it makes me so sad that they're not doing anything with it besides making, like, real life Mega Man helmets that you can buy soon. So you can do that.
Oh, cool. Get that with a Pro
And you can get
edition,
the remastered editions of the first 6 games for Steam. But I mean, like, cool. Like, I already did one of those. Like,
yeah, you can play those.
And that one, the last Anniversary Collection had more than the first 6 games. It had 7, 8, and it had 2 arcade games. That's cool. Even the X Collection had, I think it's called Mega Man Battle and Chase. It's basically the Mega Man version of Mario Kart. Cool. It was awesome. But anyway, Red Ash looks awesome. If you haven't checked out the Kickstarter page, I'd highly recommend it. Even if you're not, I wouldn't say not if you're not a Mega Man fan. I don't know. If you're a fan of just the aesthetic look and designs of Mega Man, it's definitely very, it's very reminiscent of old Mega Man. And a cool little feature. Yeah. A cool little feature. If you know anything about, Mighty Number 9, they're naming the main character Beck and his roll type, character. Like when in Mega Man it was rock and roll. Obviously that was the pun. That was the joke. In this one, it's Beck and Call. It's like a Beck and Call. Yeah. So in Red Ash, I think they're going to try to branch out and do more, maybe, this is just a guess, they might, branch out and try to make spiritual successors of other Mega Man franchises and keep the main characters named Beck and Call. Because the main character of, Red Ash is also named Beck, even though he looks completely different. And his female supporting character is also named Call.
So is what you're saying that we could get a spiritual successor to Mega Man 64 called Red Ash 64 at some point in the near future?
Well, yeah. Well, Mega Man Legends was for 64.
Yeah.
So Mega Man 64 was Mega Man Legends.
Is that what that's called?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is that the really terrible one?
Supposedly.
A lot of people, I mean, it's pretty divided, but I like it. I like it a lot. I just think it has a lot of cool things going for it. It's got a really cool atmosphere. I just love it's very reminiscent of, like, to me, Red Ash, when I looked at the trailer for it, I was in pure bliss. It not only did it remind me of Legends, but it looked like it reminded me of other things in the same vein that I love, like Firefly, remind me of Cowboy Bebop, remind me of Space Dandy, which I guess is like the same sort of thing. It just seems like a cool, like, cyber space western, and I'm all about that. It looks cool as hell. And I think they're even working on an anime, which I'd watch if it's good. I'll watch even if it's not good, but I hope it's good. I know sometimes those adaptations aren't the best. I was really looking forward to the Bayonetta animation when it came out, and it was bad. Very bad. So yeah, that's my spiel about Red Ash. It looks cool. Check out the Kickstarter page. Donate, for sure.
A big thing that happened this week that is both a big thing and a very little thing at the same time. The box art for Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, has been slightly adjusted and has removed references to Hideo Kojima and Kojima Productions, or Kojima Studios in general, except for at the top, it still says in really tiny letters, a Hideo Kojima game, but the box art has been pretty much completely altered, and just the Kojima lightning cat and that stuff's all wiped off the front of it. And I really just want to go and ask them what the hell they're doing and what their plan is with Kojima leaving, because he's literally the only thing that's keeping that entire company afloat. And, yeah.
Well, no. I mean, I don't want to say it's keeping him afloat, but he was the only one keeping him in the console game, like, industry, I'd say. Because now they're switching to more mobile games, and like they're still going to do fine.
Yeah, and historically switching to mobile games is always.
I don't think we're
going
to see a quality like Silent Hill game again, or
we almost did
Metal Gear Solid game.
Yeah, exactly.
After
this, I don't know.
Now, okay, so this is a little embarrassing. I am a big Metal Gear Solid fan. We all are.
Oh, okay.
But I do not know who technically owns Metal Gear Solid. It must be them, right?
Technically, it's
Konami.
Konami owns it, and
They
Kojima must just be, obviously the game director. So he's leaving, and they're planning on making Metal Gear Solid 6. Oh my god, Kojima, please come back. We fucked this up.
Pretty much, yeah. They actually did announce something saying that they were going to continue Metal Gear
Solid. The financial
Solids.
pain.
Whether that means they're going to announce, whether that means they're going to continue, like, main series Metal Gear Solids and put out Metal Gear Solid 6. And
Metal Gear Solid, we're going to see so many mobile games and I'm going to vomit everywhere.
Or they could go the mobile game route and just do, like, I don't even know,
Metal Gear
Snake
Metal Gear Metal Gear Runner.
That sounds amazing.
I want to play a Metal Gear Runner game where I control a bipedal Metal Gear.
Oh, I was thinking Solid Snake in the box.
That too, sure.
Yeah, I want a Temple Run game, but it's at Outer Haven and I'm running.
The Metal Gear, I want you're running from Solid Snake. Come back here.
Square Enix just put out the Tomb Runner one or whatever it's called, so anything.
I mean, Sonic's been putting out a bunch of Doodle Jump-esque games and Temple Runner Sonic games.
Well, you know what blew my mind actually talking about that is that there's a Sonic, it's called Sonic Dash. I want to say it's what's on the mobile store.
Yep.
And I downloaded it because I hate myself. And it's not even like Temple Runner where you can lean one way or the other.
Not exactly, but it's a runner.
It's a runner and there's 3 lanes. Okay, whatever, fine, it's a runner, that's how it's designed. It's in Sonic Boom. That 3-lane thing.
That was actually
you can switch between.
They pioneered that in Sonic Unleashed for the Wii, Xbox 360, and PlayStation 3. There were segments where you use the triggers to go back and forth between 3 lanes
instead of just running.
Yep, and they implemented that in.
That's the laziest thing I've ever heard.
I'm not sure if it's in Colors. I know it's in Generations.
I think it is in Colors.
And I never played Lost World, so I'm not sure. Oh,
actually, you know what? You said Colors. I thought you said Generations. It's 100% in Generations.
It is in Generations. I'm not sure if it's in Colors. I know it could be. It's definitely in Boom. I don't know if it's in Lost World because I never played it. I actually kind of liked that. At least in Unleashed, I liked it. Like dodging, there was a bunch of challenge maps with that kind of thing in it, which was cool. I don't know. I don't hate Sonic Runner. I know what it is and I appreciate it. It's fine.
You know what? The game itself, the iOS mobile runner thing, that's not the issue that I had with it. The issue is that that's actually in a game. A feature that's in an iOS game is like a component of, I mean, maybe I'm just being, the fact that they were able to that they put something into a fully fledged console game that they were able to just literally lift and place and be like, hey, there we go. That's an iOS game. Like,
I think it makes sense though.
It does make sense,
like
but
the
I just
swiping, like it's like natural.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's fine as an iOS game. The issue that I have is like, why did you put something that could just like carbon copy be an iOS game? Why is that on my TV? Like, why don't I have Happy Birds or Angry Birds or whatever that crap is called? Like, you can buy that for your Xbox. Yeah, like, why don't I have that? Yeah, exactly.
Get
because
the Star
like
Wars
that's
collection.
for your stupid phone, and maybe I just
that's that's the way Sega's heading.
I don't know. I don't really have an issue with this.
Yeah, they can go chill with Konami.
Yeah, I don't know. You could replay a lot of features could be transferred to iOS and like work. I don't know. I don't see it really as a problem.
I think peripheral, it's fine, like the Fallout thing with the second screen, that sort of stuff is fine, but when you've got like
I can play like Mega
power
Man
of
2
a
on my
console
phone.
and you're...
Yeah, but it's like not the same, like the graphics are obviously better. The visuals are going to be way better on your PlayStation 3 version of Sonic Unleashed.
Maybe I just have horse blinder-esque hate for mobile gaming.
For Sega.
No, not Sega.
There's some Sega news that came out recently where they put out like a statement that was like, I'm sorry if you think like we may have done some things that have betrayed our fans. We're going to try to step it up. And they're trying to learn from Atlas, which I think Sega is their parent. Nah.
You can learn a lot of things from Atlas, mostly things you don't want to learn.
No, Atlas has good games. I think that's what they're trying to say.
They have interesting games.
They had really crappy games, and then they had some better
I played
games.
Devil Survivor Overclocked a couple months ago. I really liked it.
Yeah.
Virtual Highlight, anybody?
Shin Megami Tensei.
Oh, okay, well, we're going back that far. It's like Sega's like, I hope they're making a good highlight for us.
I want a highlight reboot. That's
Atlas?
what I want. Yeah,
I had no idea.
Virtual
Atlas
Highlight is
picks,
Atlas.
well, I picked up this Atlas game. Let me tell you about it. I explained it to Jaeger. It's called Conception 2. Jaeger called it Contraception 2. I told him, man, you were pretty close. So this game is about you create an RPG-esque team by breeding with women and creating children. And that is your team.
Oh, yeah.
It's like Fire Emblem, like, support relationships, like, but just that.
But you have, like,
my favorite thing about it, you told me, was, like, after you mate successfully, it's like, class mated! Or something.
That's what they're called. It's called class
like,
mating.
big text.
Is getting with another woman.
Rank
And you
S!
create a star child.
A star child.
Yeah. Like a star.
No, I'm not saying, like, Atlas definitely has, like, a lot of, like,
They have
Japanese stuff.
bunch of
like,
super zany
it's
games.
Japanese, like, it's Japan.
Yeah, they make
like,
weird. It's Japan. They make weird shit. Like, that's Japan.
Like, I love it.
The last Atlas game
Shin
I
Megami
played...
games are good.
Yeah, they
They
are.
have a
Actually,
bridge
Nazi
in
games are
Japan
good.
somewhere with this gigantic, like, cartoon doll, like, holding her skirt up, and the
Catherine's
train's
great.
running through, like, her skirt.
I think they have one of Pikachu.
Yeah, it's
She's
just
a
Japan. You
little
just gotta
kid.
deal
It's
with it and
weird.
love
It's a
it.
weird place.
You
Yeah.
just gotta love it. And Dragon's Crown, like, I know that was kind of controversial when it came out because of, like, the character designs, and yeah, I'm way up there with you. But the game was fun. The play was a fun beat 'em up.
I mean, the last Atlas game I played was Code of Princess, and that game wasn't great.
It was alright.
It was
harkened back to, like, oh man, the name escapes me. It was kind of like a spiritual successor in a way to some other fighting game, but I don't remember what it's called, and someone probably
You said you were
knows.
cutting most of this out.
I'm not gonna look it up.
Yeah. So do you guys have any other news you wanna...
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you, Jaeger?
I just wanted to, I mean, I don't really want to talk about it since Will doesn't want to talk about spoilers in Arkham Knight, but the new DLC, for those who can play it, not on PC, can,
Spanish.
play
The power of
that's
PC.
Babelfish translation for a PC. You can now play the Batgirl DLC. I think it's called A Matter of Family.
It is.
And, yeah, obviously a reference to, the arc in the comic where Joker paralyzes Batgirl. And she becomes Oracle. So, I haven't actually played it, but I like the design of Batgirl a lot. I think she looks pretty cool. So, you can go out there and play that if you want.
Alright, and I think the final thing will be left up to Will.
This is completely unrelated to video games, but is in the general vein, so I'm going to bring it up because it's totally ridiculous. Okay.
Is it about a film that's coming out?
The head of F.W. Murnau, who is the man who directed the original classic vampire film Nosferatu, well, apparently there were some grave robbers at his grave the other day.
Oh my god.
And they dug up his body and took his head off and made off with his decapitated head.
Oh my god.
No, just you wait. It gets even crazier. Now, the investigators of this crime, might I mention that this crime has occurred 85 years, almost to the day after his actual death. And on top of this, the investigators are pretty sure that the crime is most likely occult related.
Most likely.
I mean, I don't know what else it could be.
Oh my god.
I have one question. Is the site you found this on theonion.com?
No, this is a real life thing. The investigators believe the crime may have been ritual or occult related because wax residue from candles was found at the scene. However, conclusive evidence has yet to be discovered, although there were reports of a pentagram being drawn on the gravestone.
That's fucking crazy.
Yes, it is.
Why?
I have no idea. I'm sure we will find out.
No, I don't know why.
Yeah, no, that's what I thought too. When I saw that it said the investigators with the pentagram
That's
and the
not so
candles,
strange.
they
That's
said
pretty strange.
it most likely was occult related, and I was like, how do they know that? That seems like they're assuming a lot. And then I thought that I was like, what the hell else could it be? You cut the guy's head off. He's been dead for 85 years, and you've got candles and a pentagram. Like clearly, this has something to do with
Dracula,
occult.
like,
Yeah,
what?
exactly. Yeah, so that
All right.
that is probably one of the craziest things I think
This is
I've heard
crazy. I wrote
in a while.
at school, I studied film. I wrote a paper on Nosferatu. This is crazy. Not too long ago.
All right, I think that's...
He's having a moment over
yeah,
here.
apparently.
That's so fucking weird.
I know.
I think that's a good place to wrap up the news section.
I think so,
I
too.
don't really know how much better.
I don't know.
Than
I don't know
that.
how we top that.
All right, so join us in the next segment where we'll go over the recent death of the CEO of Nintendo, Satoru Iwata. So see you guys after the break.
Welcome back to the trivia section. If you guessed answer C, 128 games, you are correct. That's the exact same number as the sequel to Super Mario 64 that was never released, Super Mario 128.
Alright guys, welcome back to the show. So for our third section, we'll be talking about a topic of our choice, and this week's we chose the recent death of Satoru Iwata. So I was gonna go down real quick, just list some of the things he's done with his life, and then you guys can name some stuff, and then after we'll just kind of go through and share like the memories we've had with the games that he has done. So getting into the gaming industry, Satoru Iwata started his gaming career with HAL Laboratories. There he helped create Kirby as well as Smash Bros. For the 64. He then went on to be one of the founders of Creatures Inc., which in turn created the Mother series as well as the Pokemon series. Aside from being a well-known CEO, he was also a very skilled programmer. He did such things as compress the Pokemon Gold code down to about half its size, which allowed Game Freak to implement Kanto back into it.
Can we talk about that for a sec?
Yeah, sure.
That's crazy. Like before his passing, I wasn't really aware of all of his programming feats.
Oh, really?
And
he was.
That is just like he's done some crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was. I mean, I don't think he was CEO at the time. No, he
he
definitely
wasn't. He certainly
definitely
was
wasn't. Even like after he became CEO, he was just much more than a CEO. He was like a person that we grew to like. It's so weird, you never actually met him, but he was on all the directs. The
Iwata asks.
Yeah, the Iwata asks, like, and then on top of all that, like, he was this crazy, like, good programmer.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, I mean, I don't know, I probably speak for all of us when I say that Pokemon Gold and Silver is one of my most, like, treasured games ever. It's so nostalgic to me, and, it brought me, so many hours of happiness, me and my brother. And just, like, the fact that he was such a huge part of it, like, I didn't even know. Like that's crazy.
Yeah. So he also created Pokemon Stadium, essentially from scratch. For reference, he used codes from the Game Boy, Pokemon Blue and Red and Blue, which I think is...
Didn't he, like, port it or something to the N64?
Sort of. It was like
he ported, like, a large section of the code to use as,
like,
the base for
Stadium, but still going from, like, a Game Boy game to a 64
game. And he did do most of it, like, literally by himself.
Pretty much, yeah.
He used to spend, I was reading stories about his life and what he did, and when he was doing that, I read specifically that he spent, like, hours, like 80, 90 hours a week, just working on it. And when everybody would, like, pack up and go home, he would just be there for hours and hours later. Everybody would show up early in the morning. He was already there. Mm-hmm. He would stay overnight some nights and just stay up all night and program and just, work on that sort of stuff.
He was a very dedicated man.
He
really
dedicated.
So shortly after that, he went on to become the CEO in 2002, right after the release of the GameCube. He was actually the first CEO of Nintendo not to be blood related to the past, like 4. So that was a big change for them.
And he was only the 4th president and CEO in Nintendo history.
So the previous 3 were all blood related. He was the 4th one.
Yeah, and I think that shows how... That shows the faith and the passion that was going both ways between Nintendo and Iwata, that they probably could have picked someone to be the president and CEO that was blood related to the family, but they picked him because,
they saw his dedication. They saw what he could do.
Yeah.
So shortly after becoming CEO, he still helped on development with such GameCube games as Metroid Prime, Wind Waker, and Animal Crossing. Yeah, I know.
All 3 of those games are
cherished
dear
games
to us.
Oh, God, yeah.
As CEO, he saw the launch of the Wii, the DS, the 3DS, and the Wii U.
The moneymakers.
And the DS is the highest selling video game console.
Really?
The DS series?
Yeah.
Yeah, is the highest selling video game
console. It prints
console.
money.
Yeah. We've all seen the meme, like, it just prints money.
Yeah. I mean, obviously.
That's actually, like, how I first even, like, heard of Iwata. Really? It was from those memes,
Yeah. He has quite a few memes out there.
Yeah, he's great.
And going into that, he was actually, as most people would probably say, he was much more of a friendly face than a businessman.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean... We all saw him in, like, the E3 presentations and, like, the directs and the Iwata Asks. He was much more of a personality than, like, I guess some of the other company developers are. Especially with, like, directs. I really enjoyed directs. I watched every single one when they come out live just so I can kind of talk to people over the internet with them, about them, I guess. So that was a really cool implementation that he pretty much kind of went out of his way to do, especially being in them for the majority of the time and just kind of doing these goofy little skits. Like the one for Luigi's Mansion where he had the Luigi's Mansion hat. And
that one's so good.
Yeah, with, I think, Miyamoto was also in that one as well. But that was a really good one.
I think his love for video games and specifically his love for the people playing his video games kind of shine through with how involved he was as a face of the company, because companies that make that kind of money, companies that have the money to have a CEO and a COO and all that stuff and, make tens of millions of dollars a year in revenue, they have the CEO position and they have a programmer position and they have a spokesperson position, and all of those things are filled by different people. And I think Iwata he broke that mold. He was their spokesperson and he was the face of the company and he was the CEO and he was their chairman of the board and he was a program and he did all of he was vertical integration of himself in that whole company. And I think seeing him he was just such a force for Nintendo, and I think in being in those directs and being, visibly active as a face of Nintendo, he kind of endeared himself to everybody, that was...
Yeah, for sure. He was... I think the same thing could be even said about Nintendo as a whole. Like, they just radiate, like, they just want you to have fun playing their games. I think there was a quote from Iwata, or... Maybe it's from Miyamoto?
No, it was Iwata.
It was Iwata that just says games are just supposed to be fun.
Yeah, fun for everyone.
Fun for everyone.
I would like at this very moment to read my favorite Iwata quote, which is, "On my business card, I am a corporate president. In my mind, I am a game developer, but in my heart, I am a gamer." He said that back in 2005. And I think
I think that quote resonated with a lot of people.
A lot of his great quotes, I think that one, for me at least, that makes me think of, what and there's so many things he did and so much involvement that he had over the years with, the development of video games and the shaping of video games for our childhood and for now, that you were talking about the programming for Gold.
Yeah.
And I know you guys remember that moment when you suddenly discovered that, like, you beat Gold and Silver, but no, you didn't. You can now go play Encanto and play that whole thing. That was one of the coolest moments that I can think of in video games that I've ever had in my life. And I had no idea that he had anything to do with that until you said it just now.
Oh, really?
And that's how, that shows, how much he did,
Yeah,
because something impressive. Like that, something so huge and something so major and such a large, moment in all the great video game moments that I can think of in my life. That's one of them.
He literally took a game and made it half and then added a second half.
That's
insane.
Yeah.
Especially since, that's something that a lot of Pokemon fans are still asking for today is the implementation of a second region back into another region. But
even back when the Wii U wasn't doing so hot and Nintendo was suffering financially, I believe he cut his own
I forgot to mention
pay in half. It's that's insane. I don't know. I can't think of off the top of my head any other CEO that would do something like that.
Yeah.
Cut his own pay just so his company wouldn't suffer.
No, you hear about, companies that are maybe a little bit smaller doing that, or CEOs that work for free or something like that. But
worldwide.
Exactly. Those aren't companies.
Multinational companies.
Yeah, exactly. They're not companies like Microsoft or companies they're definitely not Microsoft, because the CEO is the richest man in the world. So,
right.
It definitely a huge company, and doing something like that is the actual act of doing it is really great and really good that he did that for the company, but also what's behind that, the
just
integrity
so
behind
much.
it.
And the actions speak way louder than words. And I think, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff he did programming wise that he went uncredited for. I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure there was. Those were just some of the biggest things.
Yeah, did. He was clearly dedicated and passionate about what he did, and that's something that will always earn my respect, especially of a CEO, because that's very rare.
Yeah,
of such
because
a huge
the CEOs don't get hired to do that. The CEOs get hired. The people have this idea in their head of a CEO of a company as this heartless, uncaring dude who just makes business decisions, and that's not always true, but there's a stereotype of it because, that's what CEOs are hired for. They're not hired to be the spokesperson and be the face of the company and help program and be in goofy little videos and, do all that stuff. CEOs are hired to run the company. They're the chief executive officer. They make the decisions that kind of suck. When it comes times to downsize, they're the ones that are making those decisions, and that, that's why there's a PR department for large companies, because their CEOs have to make unpopular, shitty decisions, right, and come off as these corporate drones.
Yeah.
But Iwata
he was faced with a decision. It's either fire some people or we take a hit. And he said, nah, fuck that. Here's some of my money. I love this company. I don't want to see anyone get fired. Yeah.
Then again, I feel like some of those CEOs wish that they were in a Smash Bros. Video with Reggie Fils.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
You can't.
That was amazing.
You can have all the money in the world, Bill Gates, but were you in that video? No, you were not.
Fucking DBZ blocking Reggie. That was awesome.
Beautiful. Yeah. Even the puppets one was pretty good, too.
Well, yeah. I was smiling the whole time.
Yeah.
Nintendo just makes great decisions with something like those quirky little things. I love it.
So yeah, I guess going into a couple fond memories I've had because of him. I haven't had a whole lot of experience with the Kirby series. I kind of starting to have a little bit more, but I really like kind of the atmosphere of Kirby games. They're very friendly and some can be challenging, but for the most part,
it's usually a pretty laid back experience.
Yeah, but
in a good way.
Yeah, certainly. Wind Waker It's a big one. One of my favorite Zelda games to this day.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Vastly different from everything prior to it.
Next on my list for next podcasts, what I'm playing right now.
Wind Waker.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you are playing it right now. Animal Crossing, that's another huge series that I really enjoy, as well as Metroid Prime. That's my favorite Metroid game. Yeah, exactly. It's just so good. But the tip of the iceberg is definitely, we mentioned it so many times, but just what he did for Pokemon Gold was just so big. And it's certainly, Pokemon Gold I think was supposed to be the last one of the series technically, but since it did so well, and I feel like a huge part of that was definitely like his contribution, the whole second region and just everything, of that sort. But yeah, those are a couple memories I remember having that I enjoyed because of him.
Yeah, I just think just every game he touched and was a part of. I mean, even if he wasn't involved with it, like just the Nintendo games growing up, it just resonated so much with me.
Yeah,
like, I just have so many great memories.
They even all have like that lovable vibe.
It's because they cared
bright,
about quality
vibe
over the financial aspect all the way from the top,
Mm-hmm.
starting with Iwata all the way down. And that's why I think all of the games that, or not all, but the seemingly overwhelming majority of Nintendo games that came out when we were kids were just the coolest things ever and still are.
Yeah, they've just been a part of my life for like not almost as long as I can remember.
Exactly, more than half of our life. Pretty much.
Yeah, and every single time I played one of the games, I just I had fun. It made me happy, even when, even if I had to sit alone at lunch or something. Like I still had my Game Boy, and if you're on a family trip, and you could be bored. You don't want to talk to mom and dad. Screw that. You want to play Pokemon with my brother, and we want to trade, we want to battle. Like, just so many great memories, and that's how I met a lot. Like, that's how I stayed friends with a lot of my friends. Or we can talk about these because we all shared. It's a experience you can't really talk about. Like, I couldn't talk about with my parents, like why I loved video games,
right? Or even other people our age who just didn't grow up playing video
exactly,
games.
Yeah,
it's an experience.
Like,
it's an individual yet a communal experience.
You can never
at the same
explain
time.
it.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause I think your parents don't understand. Like, they just thought it was a waste of time. But
I still get crap from my dad about it, and I'm a fully grown adult with a big boy job, and he still gives me crap about it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I was at my grandparents the other day, and my cousin went to Comic-Con, and my grandpa he said something along the lines like, "Yeah, Brandon, you went to that Comic-Con. He brought back all this my cousin. He brings art that he makes to Comic-Con and tries to see, he doesn't sell it or anything because he's just a dude, but he shows it to other artists, and he's just a dude. He's just a dude. He doesn't have a booth. He's
just a dude out here with homemade artwork.
That's what he is. And my grandpa's he makes amazing anime styled art, and he brings it to festivals, show people. And my grandpa's he flipped through it. It's like, "Oh yeah, grandpa, you see that stuff? It's cool. It's really good." And my mom's like, "Yeah, this is have you seen this?" And my grandpa's like, "Yeah, it's good. But I don't know if people like this stuff." It's just shows how, it's just way over their head. Yeah. Never really understand, I think.
This is something that, I definitely do have a moment that I can think of with video games, but specifically about Iwata and his just unbelievable, magnanimous inclusion of all of the different things that he did while he was even the president and CEO. He became a corporate director of Nintendo. He was on the board starting in the year 2000, and they were working on HAL Laboratories. His old company was working on Super Smash Bros. Melee, which we all know and love. And he said, quote, Iwata said, "At the time I went to HAL Labs in Yamanashi, sorry if I'm butchering that, and was acting head of debugging. So I did the code review, fixed some bugs, read the code and fixed more bugs, read the long bug report from Nintendo, figured out where the problems were, got the people to fix those, I fixed some of those. All in all, spent about 3 weeks doing that, and because of that, the game actually ended up coming out on time." So he went in right at the end and, basically fixed all the problems that the game had, all the issues that they had. And I know this for a fact, not from the quote, but the game actually was scheduled to be delayed, and that's the reason Iwata went there. He said, no, this game is going to come out. We're going to fix this. And he didn't say, no, make it work, or no, we'll send some people and make it work. He said, no, we're going to make it work. And then he showed up and he fixed it. And that was in the year 2001. He'd been a corporate director. He'd been on the board of directors of Nintendo for almost an entire year when he did that. Mm-hmm. I mean, what corporate, director or CEO do you know that's going to show up to not even his own company, but a subsidiary company making a product for that company and hands-on fix the product for them, basically. I mean, that just shows dedication and love for the people playing the game and the game itself beyond anything else, beyond his pride, beyond his completely understandable and reasonable status as head honcho important guy, so I think that's just a really cool little story about him. A moment that I remember having, that I only really realized when I saw that he had passed away was when I was playing Metroid Prime, as a kid. And I remember playing it, and it wasn't one of the first games I played, but it's one of the ones that at least sticks out in my mind really heavily as like one of the first games that I really played, really got into and loved every second of and knew every corner of everything and, all that. I remember when I was playing it, not any specific moment, but I just remember having the general feeling of somebody made this, somebody worked on this. That's so cool that people spent their time doing this and really, putting effort and love into making something that I'm sitting here playing. And I've never met those people and I don't know any of their names or anything like that, but it's so cool that they did this for me, almost. You know what I mean? They made this game and now I'm playing it. It's like they made this for me to enjoy. And of course I love the game, so it was even cooler. And it was only after this, the news broke that he had passed away that I was looking at the insanely long list of games that he, either had direct involvement with, oversaw, whatever, or showed up at the end and fixed a bunch of problems so the game could come out, whatever, and saw that he was involved with Metroid Prime. And when I saw that was the moment that I remembered those feelings and those thoughts that I'd had playing Metroid Prime. And I was like, there was Iwata. It was him and his, the team that worked on it. These were the people that made this game for me that I got to enjoy so much as a kid and love so much. And it was just, I know everybody's been saying thank you, Iwata, hashtag thank you, blah, 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 that sort of stuff. But I think that was the moment that I really kind of said to myself in my head, thank you. Really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a cool realization.
Yeah.
You realize this could be a viable way to live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To that same effect, I guess I kind of have the same feeling about the Nintendo DS and 3DS. I'd probably credit the 3DS as being probably my favorite game system of all time.
It's pretty cool.
It is really cool, and it's got some really good games on it.
It's literally right here.
Yeah, I know.
Look at it.
But
bathe in its glory.
Am just so glad that as CEO, he looked at this and he greenlighted it, because it really is an amazing system.
It is, and I think that him doing that, looking at this, because he didn't have a whole lot of direct involvement with designing it per se, or at least probably the original ones. But that shows that, we've been talking this whole time about his love for programming and his love for hands-on and all that sort of stuff. But that shows a moment of, that he was a brilliant CEO and a brilliant businessman at the same time. He probably took one look at this and was like, yeah, that's gonna make so much money and that's gonna bring so much enjoyment and so much everything. And, he weighed all of those options in his head and was like, yes, do that. And he did that. And now I'm literally holding one in my hand.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I feel like he is a man that really desired innovation in a way. He didn't want the same kind of stale things coming out to a certain extent.
This is
being Mario.
This is very normal now looking at two screens, but
I remember when it
came out, DS, I was like, dual screen, get the Patty.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Really?
that's crazy.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
No, I didn't mean it. Yeah, I meant like I saw that it
was
had
just
2
something
screens, and
that-
I was like, that's
yeah.
the
I was like,
coolest.
you know,
It was something you just got to get used to, really.
Yeah,
Yeah,
This is
at the
early as
time.
I can remember. I was like a subscriber to Nintendo Power, so like I saw like all the previews and like the articles about it the months leading up, and I was like, "Yo, this is gonna be."
I remember
so
seeing it in
cool.
Nintendo Power. It was the original gray
Yeah.
DS, and seeing that
Just
it had
seeing like
2
the
screens.
screenshots from New Super Mario Bros. I was like, "Whoa,
Yeah,
this is."
I remember
crazy.
my dad like asking me about it if I like wanted one for Christmas, and he was like, "What does DS stand for?" And I was like, "Stands for dual screen, Dad."
Duh, Dad. At this point, I'm pretty sure we're in high
Stands for
school. Duh, Dad.
Yeah, we were like grown men at that point.
Yeah, I mean, there's countless memories I could pull from, even like directly involved with you two. Like sitting here today, like
I thought you meant YouTube. I thought
yeah,
you said
YouTube.
I
Bono.
thought you too.
No,
Yes,
sorry.
I
love
love
Bono.
I thought you said YouTube, and I was like,
No, yeah,
like all
no.
those videos they put out.
No.
Iwata invented
Burke
YouTube.
and Will, like we played countless hours of Smash Brothers together, Melee, and he was possible. Like that game was possible to come out because of him.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. And all those hours at high school lunch, we like played Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. Just our DSs in general.
Yeah, I mean, you could make an argument that not only would, without Iwata, would not only the DS not exist, or at least exist in a totally different form or some capacity.
Oh, it changed drastically from when it was first announced. To
and
when
on
it
top
was
of that,
released.
if if we're making that argument, you could say that maybe Gold and Silver wasn't compressed, and maybe they didn't fit that other stuff in, and maybe it didn't really do as well, and maybe it was't so revolutionary.
maybe Pokemon
play the
stopped.
maybe
This
game
is a
all
lot of
day.
maybe stuff. I'm just saying that, I mean, not saying for sure if Iwata wasn't around, these things wouldn't have happened.
Maybe
but
it wasn't a cult event.
But I can say for certain that with Iwata around, these things did happen, and we have what we have today.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that that's. You could make an argument, a theoretical argument for without him, like maybe we don't have as much Pokemon, and maybe we don't have a DS, and maybe we don't have those hours and hours of
He's just a
time.
badass.
Maybe we don't have Smash and all these things that we still love today and definitely loved as a kid. I mean, you guys remember we used to go to your house.
Yeah,
Smash
you
Fridays.
Ride the bus,
my
Smash
friends would come off
Fridays,
the bus
yeah.
with me every Friday, and we'd play Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Hours.
My friends still come off the
Hours and
bus with me and
hours.
play Smash Bros. Wii U.
Yeah, the short bus.
yeah, from the Mental Institute.
But yeah, so
It's hard because we're all strapped in.
exactly, yeah. So you guys have any more memories?
Tons.
There's
But,
so many.
I
We
mean,
could
yeah,
talk forever,
true.
but I think it would probably be best for us to.
like even like the first time I played Earthbound in college, like like way after, like I didn't have it as a kid. I was still just like, wow, like this game is great.
You know what? I played that game. Still haven't, but probably.
I own
should.
But you know its praises.
I own it and still haven't really played it.
That's inexcusable.
You own Earthbound?
Yeah, it's on my Wii U.
Oh, I thought you meant you had like the cartridge. Like,
No,
holy shit.
that shit's
worth a
like
lot of money.
That
Dosh
shit's
for
like
that?
$80 at the bare minimum.
You just call it Dosh?
Yeah, you shipped it out.
Yeah. All I can say is
Club Nintendo points.
all I could really hope for, I guess, is whoever kind of goes in place of him continues being like such a.
I'm very
Like
curious who
community
it's gonna
face.
be.
I
Well,
know.
there's Shigeru Miyamoto.
I don't. Miyamoto's
I
got on
don't know
record
how-
saying he doesn't really
And he
want to be part of
doesn't
the
wanna
business
do that,
aspect.
yeah.
I don't know how well Miyamoto would do with the business. I think he's more of like a goofball / overseer, which I guess is part of it, but you need kind of
I don't know.
like
He's
That's
gone on
I
record
hope
before
that's on
saying.
his business card. Shigeru
My
Miyamoto,
goof-
goofball / overseer.
My business card. I'm a goofball.
Yeah, I know he said recently he's talked about kind of coming to retirement and he doesn't really like the idea of being CEO, but
He's a little, I think he's at that point, that age in his life where like, he's probably not super stoked on being like, okay, like, now I'll be the CEO. He's probably looking more
Said
to
in-
ramp down.
Yeah, in the past that he's just not interested in the business aspect.
Which is fine because that's not what he does. And,
Yeah.
Iwata was kind of an odd bird in the fact that he could do both
It's very ambitious.
really, really, really well.
yeah,
Both sides
he
of
could
it.
do like everything really well.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of
He was
people
the
that they could
perfect
get to
human.
hire to run the business and make them financially successful. And there's plenty of people that they can hire to make creative, awesome games. That's, I think, why he's just such a force in the industry and such a special guy that won't be forgotten anytime soon because he had it all.
Yeah.
He really did.
But I like I said, I hope whoever kind of continues is kind of a community, in the community spotlight and continue stuff like the E3 presentations.
Yeah, I can't imagine whoever they hire, they're not in, at least in memory of Iwata, they're not gonna hire some guy who's like, you know, just a businessman.
Exactly.
They're not gonna hire somebody to replace him and be the next Iwata, but because that's impossible because he's
Nintendo's home to a lot
unique.
of creative and just inspiring people. I think everyone they hire, they have to meet that standard. They're not just gonna hire someone who doesn't love games, but just like wants a paycheck, obviously.
Right, yeah. I mean,
you can tell, like, with every release, it's just, there's a lot of love put into it, as well as the work.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it in the last podcast too, and that, you know, I know we all feel that way, and I know that it's one of the most important things to me is when you can see the love and passion that went into a game.
Exactly. I think Nintendo, that's their motto.
Yeah. That is, it really is. I mean, you look at their library of games, there's some ones that are not so great, you know, just like every library of every game, but usually they have almost, I mean, their success rate on games is so much higher than the industry standard. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because Nintendo makes games that they make. Like, Nintendo makes the games. They're not afraid to take risks,
consoles. Which is something I really admire about them. Even when a game fails, I think usually it's because they took a risk and it just didn't, like, work out.
Look at Wind Waker. Yeah. I mean, talk about risks. That was like, at the time,
they didn't need to do that. They could have just made a better looking Ocarina of Time, like the realistic standard at the time.
And everybody would have loved it. It would have been a classic and it would have been fine.
But they,
at the time, the GameCube was like, it was the thing. At that time, like, that was the pinnacle of their systems.
I wasn't like paying attention to E3 at the time, but they had like the Ocarina of Time demo, which kind of was that, like that battle between Link and Ganondorf.
Well, that was supposed to
be
that
actually was supposed to be the Wind Waker. That was what they released at E3 as the like, and then this is going to be
very similar to how they did the one recently with Zelda U. Yeah, that looked drastically different than what it actually looks like.
Yeah, and then they were just like, psych, that's not what we're making at all.
Yeah, so they did the same thing, and like it was met with incredible negative backlash.
Yeah. But now people are like super.
But now people love it, and that's just how it goes. Like over time, people look back on it, like, you know what, that was actually sick. Like, I know Majora's Mask was still a successful game, but like people love it now. Like,
but when it came out, people were like, oh,
same. Like it's crazy.
Same with Wind Waker. It's kind of, I feel
even I'm starting to see Sunshine now.
Yeah.
Like, people love Sunshine now.
Maybe, like, I know that we've talked about this before, and, you know, people had issue with Wind Waker, and they had issue with Super Mario Sunshine, and then years later, people look back. Maybe it was because I came in late to Nintendo, like, I didn't have an N64, and I started with a GameCube. So my, like, first memories of those series and stuff, I mean, I played the originals, but, like, was Wind Waker and was Sunshine, and I loved the hell out of those things when they came out, and I never had any issue with them.
Like, I even played 64, and then I played Sunshine. I still love it. And I played Ocarina and Majora's, and then I played, like, Wind Waker. I still love
Wind Waker's still my favorite, and I've played all of them except for the newest one.
Right.
And Wind Waker's still my favorite.
The console ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Makes sense to me. Well, except for crossbow training.
Great game. We played it like 30 minutes to like an hour before the podcast started, and I've never played it before, and I'm surprised at how like not
functional it is.
Like, I thought it was just gonna be like the bare bones. No, I didn't think it was not gonna be functional. Like,
Fable,
I thought it was gonna be like the most bare bones like shooter, but
Nintendo doesn't.
There's a lot of little details I was like honestly surprised at.
I don't.
I mean, the controls are a little wonky. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It's an ancient Hylian remote.
It's not a perfect.
Give it some.
The motion controls are not great. Like, but like, I don't know. Some of the mechanics.
You have to get an ancient Wii Motion Plus to attach.
I bet if
to your
Nintendo put like
crossbow.
all their chips in one basket, they could revolutionize the way that those kind of shooters work. Which I guess they're doing with Star Fox.
Well, yeah, they did with Star Fox and Sin and Punishment.
Did Nintendo make Sin and Punishment, or was that a different company?
Find out. It's Monolith Soft that does the second one.
Oh yeah, okay, that's fine. Oh, the second one?
Yeah, I don't know about the first one, honestly. So, do any of you guys have anything you want to throw in at the last minute?
Rest in peace.
Yeah, certainly.
Sad to see him go.
A huge idol in the gaming industry.
Yeah, definitely taken a big chunk of video games and video game history along with them, but, you know,
Sincerely, thank you for everything you've done.
Definitely.
because I don't know if I'd be the same person I am today without Nintendo. For
Agreed.
sure.
Here's to Iwata.
Thanks for joining us on our second episode of our show. I know it was a little bit more sad than the last one, but we hope you guys still enjoyed. If you like what you heard here, you can follow us on Twitter at Guys and Their Games, as well as our Facebook page, Guys and Their Games, and we hope you'll join us next time. Alright guys, see ya.